Okay, I never pushed live. Jesus Christ. I've been live in 1 hour and 28 minutes and I didn't push the go live button on the vertical stream. Do I have a... Let me see if I have a soundboard. Do I have that? Nope. Damn it. Jesus Christ. That was stupid. That was really stupid. Anyway, maybe it shows something now. Now I can see it here. Okay, lesson learned. I have to remember to push the enable button. Okay. That work? Yes, yes. Okay. Okay. That was maybe it's better if you also go live on your on your vertical live stream. Anyway. Oh, okay, that makes sense. I've been away in and out since beginning. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Probably missed some of it. That's okay, MSD, no problem. So, Rob, do you have an explanation to this? I'm setting this. I have this loaded shell here, which is just a reference to a shell behavior. You know, you can see here. I'm just once the fuse of the mortar is completed, I check if there's a shell. Then I do some stuff to place it correctly. That also works. I also enable it. That also works. Then when I spawn it, something happened. That's a little weird. But then I set this to null. But this is never set to null. I know why. I know why. I know why. I'm setting this to null. But I'm also placing the shell object at the exact location of this trigger area. So I'm pretty sure that I'm placing it here and then making it null, which triggers this logic down here, which sets it back to being null. That's why. And then it's despawned. That's freaking why it doesn't work. That is the problem. Jesus Christ. Okay, let me try something. Let me try something. So yeah, that is the problem. That's why I see shell can be loaded. I think let's just try this. So I would assume. Okay, let's. I could also debug it, but now we just do some log stuff. Loaded shell set to null. Just as a little old school debug trial and error thingy. So okay, so I would assume that a lot of debug logs. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the problem with, and the reason I'm sparely using the debug thing, which is the debug thing is of course super useful. The problem with network stuff is that you can only, sometimes you can only do it for a certain amount of time, because then network stuff becomes odd, like you saw before, because it's losing connection to stuff and then everything just breaks. So that's why right now I'm just using these the debug logs. I'm also debugging, but the debugging with multiplayer is a weird thing. So I'm guessing now I'm putting it in to the mortar. Then we get this lot saying shell can be loaded, which is not, it should have said shell is loaded. Really bad comments, but so let's see here. Let's clear this. then I'm pretty sure that when I put it in here, yeah, so we get a shell can be loaded, blah, 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 blah. That's this message because it triggered and was put into the tube. Now I will ignite it, and then I will expect to see this mortar, which is also weird. I should write something else, but I would expect to see this, and I would expect to see this one right after. But I would also expect to see this one again, because as I'm placing the loaded tube here, or the loaded shell at the launch position, which is the exact same location as the trigger, which triggered this one, will load it back into the tube, if that makes sense. So let's see, let's clear it out and let's ignite it, and let's see. So we see this one, that's actually the fuse was completed, so it's actually igniting. Then I was setting, then the loaded shell is set to null, that's this one. But then the shell can be loaded, which is this one down here. So that's because it's being put right back into the tube, because I'm spawning it at the end of the tube. Okay. Classic YouTube Unity issue. Not because there's something wrong with Unity, but just, yeah. Shell loaded, and then we want to do this one, and then we say mortar fuse completed, so we have some better logging. So how to avoid that? Yes, how to avoid that? We could, of course, for the fun of it, I could just move the launch position further up, and then we could see if that works, but I'm pretty sure that will work. Really, I got 51-hour playtime fireworks training. That's a lot. Nice. Gonago's back. Unity being Unity. Yeah, but it's not really a Unity. It's not really a Unity thing. It's just like, you know, events and triggers trigger other events and triggers, which trigger unexpected triggers. So it's just it's not really a Unity. What should they do? You know, I created the logic for this, so obviously when I put it back into that, it will trigger. You know, Unity shouldn't prevent that. It's just me being not brainy. Oh, looks like there's one viewer now on the vertical one. Oh. Anyway. So it helps put the vertical one to public. Jesus Christ. Okay. So how can we avoid this? We could put this property on it saying the easy one could be that we have a property on a shell behavior that just say, you know, if the shell is being loaded or not. And then we could just set that to true when we put it into the tube, and then never set it back to false. Because then on trigger enter, I could check for this one. But it's also... Yeah, see you, Rob. I'm also not quitting in not the too far future, but I just want to play around with this a little. Yeah, great you could join, and happy I could help you off work. I'm only playing the non-multiplayer version. Okay, really? Why? I'm interested. Why not playing the multiplayer version? Not that you have to, but just interested in knowing why you're not playing the multiplayer version. Multiplayer is not for everybody, I guess. But of course, by the way, the multiplayer version will also eventually have single player. Yeah, speak to you, Rob. We need to have a call soon to catch up and get status at some point in more private. Okay, it seems like running 2 streams is a little hard for my machine. At least it seems like it's lagging on the vertical one. Is it just me? Maybe it's too much. Okay, it's fine now. It was just on my machine, it looked weird. Come on. Okay, it is working. Anyway, so and we could use that property too, but can we do something smarter? Now, let's just try this. I don't have a better solution right now, but this is not ideal. So let's do a property on the shell behavior. Now we do one saying is loaded into mortar, and then once we let's do like this. So when it's actually loaded in here, we say, okay, loaded shell is loaded into mortar, true, bam. And then if this is different from null and is loaded into mortar equals false and blah 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 blah. Okay, so now a shell that have been loaded into a mortar once, because there's no logic to get it out of a mortar. So once you put it into a mortar or into a tube, it's there until you ignite it and it goes out. And when it goes out, it can still have that setting that it's being loaded, because it's only going out and then exploding and then it's gone. So I guess this should prevent it from, reinserting itself into the tube once it's fired off. Yeah, let's see. Maybe this is actually the... Oh, now we have 4 viewers on the vertical one. So hello everybody on the vertical shorts live thingy, which is my first, but also hello to all of you guys in the normal one. Oh, new subscriber. Oh, and that also shows up on the vertical one. Cool. Now I didn't see the name. Damn it. Fernando something. I missed. Do I have a doc where I can see that? Nope, I don't. Nope. I have some other no, that's the Twitch integration where I can see that. But thank you for subscribing. Okay, let's get back. This is kind of exciting if this works. So let's try it out. Also, you guys on the short, now we have 6 viewers on the short, on this vertical live thingy. Pretty cool. Let me know in the chat, in the vertical one, what you think about the layout here, because as you can see, it's not perfect for showing, you know, a normal screen. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to zoom in as much as I can on stuff when I need to show something. And then you can see I have this in the background, which is basically the same view, but just, you know, darken a little. Anyway, now this, oh, we have another subscriber. Oh, that looks weird on the short one. Theo, subscribe. Thank you. And then let's see here and here, and then what was that? Wasn't there a weird sound? Okay. So we put it in here, and maybe we should, let's just delete this one so we can get back to actually seeing. Here, so we have the mortar, we have the mortar here, and we have the shell disabled because it's just being loaded into the mortar. So let's see here. Where is it? Here we are. So if I ignite this now, let's also do this one. Mortar, okay. So mortar fuse completed. And it actually went out, but it's just laying right there, so I most likely cannot put, there's some other stuff, but I know why. That's something I can fix. See, anyway, I can't put this one in because this one is already loaded, and you can see over here, okay, now it starts working, and you can see the shell is now enabled. That's this shell that is over here, but it's marked as being loaded, so I can't load it again. But now I should be able to reload this tube. Boom, yep. And we can go like that. Maybe. No, I can't because, yeah, okay, that's because the fuse on the mortar needs to be reset once it triggers. Okay, so how can we actually do that? Is that possible? Can we reset extinguish? No, what is it? Ignite. Remaining fuse time is used. Okay. No. Okay, that's of course a problem. Yeah, okay. That's of course a problem because I can't. Okay, but okay. For now, it's not a problem, but it is a problem because the fuse in the mortar can only be used once, the way the logic is made now, and it's some core logic. So I need to think about how I fix that. I need to be able to reset it somehow. I could also just I could make a reset function method that could set back the is used is blah blah blah. Yeah, but we take that. That's not so important now. The important thing is that it actually works and it spawns, but it's not actually igniting. Which brings me to okay. Just for the we test something now. Test, or we can say launch from mortar. Like that, and we can make it async, blah blah blah. So this is not ideal, but so like that. So now I have a launch for mortar. So when this completes, blah blah blah, set to true, blah blah blah, spawn, and then we can say, no, I'm yeah, it's not perfect, and we don't want to. Okay, we do some hacky stuff now just to test it out, because now when it launches, it should actually launch up. But this is a crappy way of doing it, because I'm not keeping track of cancellation tokens and tasks and stuff like that. But right now I just want to see if it works. Let's see. Oh, Matei Corin, can you say hi? Hi. Yeah, I am actually here live, testing out. I said, can you say hi? Hi. So yeah, I can. So interesting, Matetai. So this, are you following me normally, or did this live stream show up in just your feed randomly? Because this is my first time streaming vertically on YouTube. I'm also streaming the same stream on a regular, normal horizontal stream. So, and I'm just trying out this vertical stuff just because that's what the cool kids are doing. Really is also making a game right now. Cool. Hey, Mr. Paraboy. How are you? Thank you. Matei. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. Sorry. But if you could, did this live stream show up in your feed, in your shorts feed, or are you following me already beforehand? Let's see. Oh! Did you see that? Did you see that? So obviously there's a problem, because there's tons of problems, but one thing you can see that is the problem is that it have the same kind of, upward force as it have when it's not in a tube. And of course the force going up when it's in a tube should be larger, but we can fix that easily. It's too small. Let's try again. And again, we should of course be able to reload, yada yada yada, all that. But I'll fix that. See? Okay. This will probably not work multiplayer or with a client connecting anyway, but that's not really the target right now. So what we could do, and now actually, are you still here, Amnesty? Because this is actually one of the questions for you, because you are a modder. So if we should think, let me just hear if you are here still, Amnesty. Okay, Matei. So it just showed up in your shorts. Okay, cool. Thank you. Cool. Can you try Dum Dum? Huh? By the way, I'm making a game called Fireworks Mania, and it's already out on Steam. If you don't know it, it's a game about playing around with fireworks in a sandbox. And I'm working on some new stuff. Okay, Amnesty, you're here. Okay. one question. I don't know if you saw it, but I just actually had it kind of working. Okay, if you're back now, let's take it once again. There's a lot of code things I need to fix because it's not ideal. This is so annoying. It's not ideal at all, but I actually got it kind of working now. Kind of working, not multiplayer working. I haven't tested that at least, but I know what the problem was at least before. Okay, so see this. And I can't reload the mortar right now because you can reset a fuse and blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. Okay, so see here we have we have a mortar here, boops, and we have a shell we put in here, and we can put a shell here. So as we talked about in the beginning, I don't know if you were here, but a shell outside of a tube kind of needs to go with a little pull, because it's not in this tube, so that pressure that is actually pushing it out is not there, and therefore it should only do a little jump when it's outside, when it's ignited outside of a tube. But as you will see here, when I ignite it in the tube, it have the same, because it's the same force. So you can see here it's not going up very far. So my question to you as a modder amnesty, what should we do? Because we can do two things. On the shell, we can have a setting on the shell. I can actually show you. We could have a setting on a shell that's, let me show you. This is not final, this is of course work in progress. But as you can see here, we have a ground launch force, and that is the physics force that is applied to the shell when it's on the ground. Right now I call it ground launch. And we also have a sound when it's on the ground, and we have an effect on the ground. The effect is of course the same. Sound might also be the same, but that doesn't matter. Right now it's the force that's a problem. So we can do two things. Either I can do another property here, where you on the shell set the physics force that is being used to send out the shell when it's loaded. So that might be 50 in this case, where it's 10 when it's on the ground and 50 when it's not on the ground, when it's loaded. But more realistically, the amount of physics force applied to the shell, the explosion in the shell in the bottom is really the same if it's on the ground or if it's in the tube. It's the same amount of force or explosion force, but it's amplified by being in a tube and being in this, closed chamber thing. So when it ignites, the pressure down there is pushing up the shell. So with that in mind, we could also have a setting on the tube, on the mortar, or on the shell itself that multiplies that force. I know I might be overthinking it now, but would you prefer to be able to set the amount of force applied to the shell on the ground and in the mortar as two different values on the shell? Or would you like to have one force set on the shell and then have the mortar be kind of an amplifier, or have an amplifier on the shell? So like you set the force to 5 and then you set the amplifier to 5, for instance. So on the ground it uses the force of 5, and when it's put in the mortar it uses the multiplied force, which would be 25 in this case. That was a long talk for a pretty simple thing. What if you had it just play a whole particle system that launch embers, trails, effects, all that can be done. Yeah, we could also have that. But the thing is that Yeah, I see what you mean. So like, you know, for the normal tubes, for the preloaded tubes that we have in the game now, the effect is two things. The effect is actually shooting it up and the exploding effect. Where here we have a shell that we force out with physics, that, and then the explosion happens up there. The idea of having a particle system being the poof is pretty nice, because I think that would perform better, because having that physics thing on the actual shell can be pretty taxing, especially if we have like a lot of these going off. Yeah, it wouldn't have any force in the direction. Yeah, it would. On the ground, it basically just have a poof. So it's just like a tiny explosion effect at the position. And when it's in a tube, it's actually a much bigger force actually applied to the shell and in the direction of the tube. Or do you mean you are launching? I can see from that hard thing. Whole shell into there like a model and everything. Yeah, right now I'm launching the shell in the air. But as I just said, what I don't like about that approach, that is of course the most realistic approach. But performance-wise, that might not be the best thing actually. But would it make sense from a modder's point of view to have to do both the launch particle effect and the actual explosion effect? Sorry, Matei. The game is called Fireworks Mania. By the way, I was way too slow on answering that one. I'll just put it in the chat here, in the vertical one. Okay, so in the Panini's version, you had to do the effect of the shell going out of the mortar was done as an effect from your side. That makes sense. So you do the shell, you do the fuse thing, and then you do. So you. Did you do two effects for a shell in the model version? Like what's it called? What is it called? That effect. You know, the effect of it shooting out of the tube, and then the actual explosion, the real effect. So I'm just asking basically how did it work seen from a modder's point of view? Okay. So when you are doing a shell, when you're doing a shell in the current version, you have two effects. You have a launch effect, launch effect, and you have an explosion effect, basically. But I'm saying for this, it can essentially be done the same as the single shot tubes, and the shell model inside the tube can just be deleted. Yeah, all that about being in inside and deleted and all that, I've figured out, because I can't do the same. But I think Panini just parented that object, that game object, the shell object, into the mortar. But I can't do that, so I need to figure out another way of doing it. But having two effects might not be a bad idea, and might actually be simpler and more performant, really. And I guess in as a modder you can have two prefabs. One of the prefab is the launch prefab, which basically just shoots out an emitter, which is an instance that sub emitter is just the other prefab, really, right? Can you do it that way to kind of reuse? So the explosion effect can either be triggered on ground, when it's not inserted into a tube. It can just play the explosion effect basically, and when it's fired from within a tube, it plays the launch and explode effect, which is basically just a prefab that fires off a single something effect, and then as a sub emitter of that one is the other prefab, which is the explosion. That would be pretty cool, actually, I think. And simpler, really. And more performant. Hello, Taxi. Yeah, I think I will stop the stream in a moment, but I will consider that, because it's actually a bit smarter. Let me just do a to-do here. Launch and explode prefab and explode effect prefab of actually shooting out the shot. Yeah. Exactly, because this was just my first go-to, but I totally agree, Amnesty, because often you can't see that shell anyway. Typically it would just go out and you would just see kind of a trail of some, basically some sparks from the explosion, from the launch explosion that fires it off, if it was in real life. And in the game you would just see poof, go up. You would basically see the same as a preloaded tube as we have in the game right now, a single shot. If a bunch are used, performance worse, exactly, because all that physics will go crazy. Yeah. Yeah. Let's just have some cozy fireworks while we are talking about this. Yeah. Okay, I just noted that, Amnesty. And I think that's a really good point. And then also we don't have to worry about that force being applied, because that's just up to the creator. It also gives more possibilities, right? Because you can then have different launch effects if you want, and you can reuse some of the. I think we have a launch and something prefab, that does that spark thing. It's part of the mod tools, so you would obviously often use that as the in the beginning, and then have it go out from there. I think having in mind that it's basically a preloaded tube that can be reloaded and models changed, deleted in the best way to think about it. Yeah, I think you are right. And that also makes it a little easier. That makes it a lot easier, because then I can, so when you put a shell into a mortar, I don't actually need to keep a reference to that shell. I just need to know what entity it is, and that definition, entity definition for a shell, just have two effects. So I just need to keep track of that, so that when I need to launch that effect, I just need to instantiate the right one and fire that off. It's so much simpler. It's so much simpler. And then we can also, if we wanted to, we could have a model as part of that definition too, that I could basically place inside the tube if you wanted that, look down in the tube and see it down there. We could have that, and we can have the same with the fuse as just a it's just a model with a fuse component on it, and I can spawn that at that location of the mortar too, and then it's all working. Not too bad. That's actually a good approach. And if the shell is lit with no tube, the launch effect and force are not applied to the effect. Exactly. Yeah, it's basically two effects. Like, it's a launch and explode effect and an explode effect. Two prefabs. And yeah, it's two prefabs. And the launch and explode effect is basically just a prefab with a launch effect, and a sub-emitter of that effect is the other explode prefab. So it's the same, explosion effect. And then of course I can just play one of the other, instantiate and play one of the other, depending on what if it's loaded or not. And it's not like you can take out a shell once it's loaded, so it's just there. Yeah, okay. I can show you sometime this week how it works before on Unity project. Yeah, to be honest, I haven't tried looking into how to do it in the other, but if you can show me, we can do a little chat on Discord just to see how it works. But I think I have a pretty good idea of now how to make it even simpler than I have it now. That's pretty good. Yeah, let's just do a call just in private. Yeah, sure. But anyway, that's it for today. First vertical short stream that was only turned on really for the second half of the live stream. But I basically got some basic stuff working with the shell and mortar, and now at the end here, together with you guys, especially you, Amnesty, I got an even simpler idea I have to try out tomorrow. Not on live stream most likely, but just offline. But that's it, and thank you, and bye, and see you in the next live stream. And of course, if you haven't checked out the game I'm actually working on here, it's called Fireworks Mania, and you can find it on Steam. And let me see, now I have an ending. Yeah, so we have an ending stuff here on the normal stream, and I have not an ending thing on the vertical. I have to figure out how to do that. But anyway, that was it for today. See you guys. Bye bye.